Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you may happen to be. This is Talk About Your Community. I'm Todd Nilson, your host with Clocktower Advisors. And if you are here, chances are you're thinking about or excited about or have signed up for or are already to go to CMX, which is coming up September 14th and the 15th, the event in the community industry. And I'm very excited that I get to be a part of it this year, along with my colleague Ilker, who will be bringing in here shortly, along with my friend Jenny Weigle. Without further ado, we'll get into the meat of the programming here right away. But one of the things I'll mention is that this is a live interactive show. Would love to get people to give a shout out if they're tuned in for the live stream. And we also look for comments afterwards, and we try to respond to everybody. So please jump in. Would love to hear in the comments about what events you're most excited about with CMX. And if you're going to be traveling there in person or going virtually, I know I'm going to be virtual on my side, sadly, wah wah. But hopefully, there'll be a lot of you guys there in person, and it will be really terrific to see what everybody brings away from the event. Before I bring on my guests and friends today, I did want to just give a quick plug. Next Friday, or sorry, not next Friday, 2 Fridays from now, the next live streaming we're going to be doing is going to be a show on storytelling in community. And storytelling is a community building tool. My really good friend, Amadou Diallo, is going to be my guest for that. That's going to be September 9th at 10 a.m. U.S. Central Time. And hope you'll be able to join for that. And you can already sign up for that under the Clocktower Advisors page of events. Already seen some people jumping in on the comments. Hello. It's so great to see everybody. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Tisra. Hello, Isabel, Piper. Great to see you guys. I'm just going to bring on Jenny and Ilker here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Jenny, Ilker, hey.
Hello. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday. So for those of you who don't know Jenny and Ilker, so Jenny Weigle is the founder of Jenny.community, and she does fantastic consulting around community strategy, kind of specialized in Chorus, but not limited to that, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And she's amazing. We've been friends and colleagues. She's been on the show before many times. Really great to see you and have you back with us today, Jenny.
Hello.
And my excellent friend Ilker Akansel, the consulting strategist extraordinaire from Turkey. So he is an amazing person who came out of some very large clients or customers that you would probably recognize by name. Ilker and I go back pretty fair ways. We're regular colleagues with each other, and actually we've got a new business venture which we'll be announcing at the CMX event as well. So welcome, guys. Welcome. We're here to talk about Star Wars and Disney, right? Is that?
Let's see. Oh no, that's a different like LinkedIn Live, Todd. CMX Summit.
Yeah.
CMX Summit.
All right.
No, we can always do that, though. Definitely. The Star Wars is a great introduction, an excellent introduction to communities, which I presume it will feature in one way or the other on the things that we're going to be talking about, doesn't it, Todd?
I mean, we're all on a hero's journey, right? Yeah. And for everyone at CMX, I'll be there in person, coming from a Disney community event that previous weekend. So my Disney fandom will be at a super high level.
That sounds amazing. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about CMX. We've got there's sort of a workshop the day of. That's on the 14th, or is that on the 13th?
That's on the 13th. So bonus for everyone who didn't know, there is a workshop. It's a separate ticketed event happening on the 13th. It's also at a different location, but literally on the same street as the location of the conference venue. So it is a community operations workshop, it looks like, and hopefully we'll get a link to it here in the chat in just a second. And it's being led by the queen of community ops, Miss Tiffany Oda. So if you want to brush up or an intro or want to advance your skills in that area, definitely encourage you to sign up for that. Get there a little early, start meeting people. That's it's super exciting. And that's the only workshop I have seen so far. So I'm not sure if more are in the mix. This is an unofficial CMX event right here, y'all. So
yeah. So we are in no way affiliated with CMX. We do not benefit from ticket sales or anything like that. We're just excited about the event. We wanted to give a little bit of a preview of it and talk about what we're excited about. Looking at it, the workshop sounds amazing. Community operations is a very emergent career category. It's really just kind of come to the fore within the last year. So it's great that CMX is giving it some coverage. I noticed there are a couple of other events during the 14th and 15th around community operations. I know Sarah Hawk, my friend from my Fever Bee days, who's now with the Discourse community, is going to be giving a talk on the 15th about community operations. So I think for anybody that's interested in that or maybe career pathing that direction, this is going to be a great event to start planning your pivot if you're going to be doing that.
It looks like you could essentially, sorry, Ilker, real quick. You could basically create your own community ops track out of what's offered on the 14th and 15th is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I was just excited. I just jumped in. Basically, my very good friend, Todd sort of mentioned one of those, big companies that I worked for was Google, and one of my ex-colleagues and a good friend from Italy, Alfredo Moresi, is also presenting a community operations session over there. So therefore, an important conference for you to watch if you're ever interested in that subset of community profession.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. There is a little bit of an extra charge to sign up for the workshop, I believe. Is that right?
Yep, separate ticket from the main event. But heck, you get there a day early, and then you're ready for the 14th. And if we haven't made it clear, sorry, yes, I'll be there in person. Todd and Ilker, who are both speaking, will be joining remotely. There's going to be some fascinating experiences no matter where you're sitting that day.
Yeah, I love the fact that CMX is embracing the hybrid approach to this. I mean, I think we live, as community professionals, we live in hybrid in many cases. And it's wonderful that they're incorporating that, taking the hard lessons from COVID, having to do fully virtual, but kind of continuing that, here this year. I think that's it's just an amazing evolution of the event space that we're seeing more of this. And I'm glad that CMX is doing that as well.
Also, it's quite interesting because even previously, even before before the pandemic, there was always a tendency to have a hybrid dimension of events. People were just whipping up their phones and basically start streaming on social. So basically, just recording things and try and broadcast to their sort of friends, family, colleagues around the world. So there was always, in my opinion, a tendency to do that. I mean, I saw it in developer communities at at Google when I was working. So certainly, there was always some groundwork for hybrid, and it's great that this is now being embraced. And again, we just say it not because we're affiliated. We're of course part of the CMX community, but it really gives me a lot of excitement to say that the hybrid or virtual participation to this conference will be free. So you don't have to pay anything to watch the virtual sessions.
That's right. It's great to be a freeloader, right? No, just kidding.
I want to mention that Piper pointed out there's going to be another workshop hosted by Facebook, a certification workshop. Piper, thank you for saying that in the chat. If you've got a link, please share it. And sounds like Facebook's also going to be hosting a networking event. Which day, Piper? If you could post that, that'd be great to know as well. Oh, getting such great information here, guys. Bring on the good info, the deets.
This is amazing. Yeah. So like the all of the activity in the chat, this is super great to see. Deb Shell, hello to you. It's good to see you out there as well. Yeah, it's just a nice group of participants here today. So right. So there's the workshops plural, and then the 14th and the 15th. There's just a variety of really interesting topics that have come to the fore this year. We mentioned community operations already. There's some interesting sessions on Web3 that I have some particular interest in. There's just some other good stuff. There's a panel with Richard Millington and David Spinks, which is always a good time. Just to hear those guys on stage together. Maybe they'll get in a fight. That'll be fun. But it'll be. I know they had their Twitter battle some time ago. Looking forward to seeing a lot of that. Jenny, Ilker, do you guys have some favorite events that you sort of earmarked on your schedule that you want to be sure to hit?
Jenny, go for it. Ladies first.
Okay, thanks. I mean, besides attending both of yours, I really love attending sessions where I feel like I can get some clear action items out of. I do love kind of talking vision and higher level at times, but also if I get inspired enough to know certain things that I can get out of that and go do immediately, those are the kind of sessions I look for and that I really benefit from. So looking at the agenda, I am really interested in, there's an afternoon session on day one, turbocharging your community impact with user groups. Now, user groups has been a big topic with my clients lately. I've also been writing about it lately on my Substack. And that's a session with Drew Frey, Nicole Saunders, and Bree Lever. And so I am hoping for all kinds of, great little tidbits and nuggets of wisdom in that. It just seems like the kind of topic that can come out with very actionable steps on how to start a user group, refine your user group, improve your user group. So that's one I've got my eye on.
Really neat, really neat. Ilker, how about you?
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to tell more than one session because I've sort of grouped a couple of things, because I may never get a chance to do so again, in the sense that, of course, because we're going to be talking about many things today, and I really don't want to sort of take more time than required, so that we give enough importance to those sessions and matters that we're going to be talking about, because it's so exciting. So I've just split some of the sessions that I'm interested into two. So I've created two personas, just like we do as strategists. We create personas for communities. If you're interested in community management and building, and you're an executive in a company, or you're just basically not a community professional, but you're always interested in what communities can bring for you. So I've grouped a few, and I've deliberately stayed out of what Jenny has just talked about, and your area of expertise or interest, Todd, which is Web3 and the future of communities and so on. So I just said, the CLG, the community-led growth, and the creator economy are the things that could be, quite interesting for people who'd be, interested in community management, building, and the power of the community, so to speak. So, of course, Derek and Kobe Fuller are having a great, session in the morning, scaling with community-led growth. And the another one is with John Cantarella, which is VP at Meta, Facebook, the community economy from business to creators. That's really interesting. Another one, which is Emil Lecker from Patreon, is talking about where creativity meets community, and that's going to be hosted by our good friend Marsha from CMX. Of course, there's your talk, which is talent community, which we'll come to in a moment, I'm sure. And just a couple more: the rise of community-led growth by Surgeon, and David Siegel, who's the founder of Meetup. He's talking about why communities they take it to a happier and more sustainable life. This is something personal. And if you're a community professional, just a couple of things. I just said the themes could be engagement and buy-in. So there's one from our good old friend Pablo Gonzalez: engagement from zero to community in 4 weeks. A strategy that your CFO, even your CFO, will love. That's just a great one. Pablo is a power ball of energy. So definitely, go and watch that.
That one was definitely on my list too, Ilker. Yeah, that it looks like a really good one. I think what attracted me to that was just like all the measurement and numbers that he kind of just brought into the description, and just sort of the speed to value. That's particularly interesting. Just data-driven results is such a hot area that we all need to be paying attention to that. So I'm glad you brought that one out.
Definitely. And just a couple more. Our very good friend, again, a fantastic person, Katie Ray. She's talking about building a community by members, for members. Definitely, a session that speaks to my heart. And of course, there's a few more. There's a growth story, a building and scaling story from Zoom. Alexis Brown is talking about building and scaling a community in 12 months, which is going to be very interesting. 90-day community, happy ever after, Nisha Baxi from Gong. That's just great. And finally, something that is very, very current: building recession-proof communities by Jamie Lanskov from Unusual Ventures. And of course, Taylor is going to be on the same day as well. Taylor Harrington from Groove, which is a killer app, just something great that I also use, building the future of your community with products. These are the things that I sort of earmarked on the side. Definitely to be, not to be missed by both community professionals and those who are interested in community.
Those are really neat picks. You got a lot there, man. It's going to be a busy couple of days for you. But I totally agree with you. Like, as you mentioned, Pablo Gonzalez, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing session. You know, on the day one stuff, the ones that really stood out for me, I was particularly interested, you know, just I think just in terms of being aware of what's going on globally, the live from Ukraine session, how communities and groups mobilize to support people during crisis. I think that's huge. I'm really intrigued by that, and our friend Yuri Lazarek is going to be on that along with George Gabriel. I'm really curious to see, you know, what they bring to the fore from that. That's going to be a fascinating session. I'm, you know, and I'm also just interested from the international angle. Like there's so much U.S. centric community that's out there, or UK centric kind of community. I'm interested in other perspectives. So that other session with lessons in building community in Africa, Europe, and Australia. That's of some particular interest to me as well. I'm very interested in sort of cultural difference and sort of like different ways of getting engagement and getting people onboarded. You know, people coming from different lived experiences, different geographies, different cultural backgrounds. I think that's super interesting to me. I think I mentioned a little bit earlier. You know, I think it's kind of a must see to catch. You know, David and Richard. Along with their other the other individuals, Melody McFessel and Wayne Sutton from Observable, talking about leveraging data and insights to build sustainable communities. Again, sort of that data-driven approach is I think super interesting. And then day two, there were a couple that stood out for me. One for personal reasons, as well as because it's Web3. Shreyas Cuddy, head of community for Near Foundation. I met Shreyas back when I was with Feverbee, and we had talked about trying to engage him with some work. And I see he's made his own path in his own way in the Web3 world, and has done some really interesting things. I had a chance to connect with him a couple of months back, and I think that's going to be a really fascinating session. He's somebody to keep your eye on in the space. Really, really innovative guy. And then, you know, again, another callback to my Feverbee days. I mentioned Sarah Hawk is going to be doing a session on day two around community operations as the key to scaling for sustainability. She's an amazing, insightful person who it's a privilege to know. And I've caught some of her sessions in other events and other places. And she's someone who I would highly recommend, you know, checking out as well. So there's so much to look forward to. Like, there's no way we can do justice mentioning everybody who's involved with this.
Let's also give a shout out to one of the people watching us right here, Tirza Austin, who's got a session on day two about mentorship, which is not talked about enough, I think, in community, and is so critical. I mean, here, even on this call, these two gentlemen have been mentors to me in starting my practice. And so I'm really eager to hear what happens there as well.
You're the mentor. You're the inspiration for sure.
That's
but
right.
I mean,
we learn from each other, right?
Exactly. There's a lot of camaraderie, of course, going on right now as we're talking. But you know, you may have noticed that we know a number of people who've been involved in this show, basically just listening to us and writing some lovely comments. And thank you all. It might be. It looks like it's a small circle, but one of the cool things about community, and I said this somewhere else. It's a very peculiar kind of work because it's very similar to sort of developers, where they're by nature of the job, they're supposed to support each other and learn from each other. And we are like this as well. And it's very rare that you have let's say gatherings of, I'm just making it up, maybe sort of product or sales or marketing, where people are as prone to learn from each other as, let's say, community. Let's say industry, because it is what we do, what we teach, or what we sort of preach in a way. So therefore, you will, if you hear this, don't adjust your TV sets. I'm a child from the 70s. It really shows. Don't touch that remote. It's normal, when we sort of reference, things to each other.
Just a couple of comments I wanted to pull up here. There's been a lot of lovely chatter in the discussion here. Alexis Brown, thanks for the shout out. Ilker, Deb Shell, definitely loves Pablo Gonzalez. Another little bit of love for Hawk out there from Piper, and Yeah, and then hello to Danny. I just saw him pop up on the chat as well. It's nice to see you. Looking forward to your
Yes.
contributions. Yeah, that's terrific. Got to have you back on the show sometime soon too, Danny. That'd be great to have you back in. Yeah, so just some other things. Like I saw there was a great post earlier this week, like to your point about just sort of the nature of community professionals in our space. There's a post by Taylor Harrington on LinkedIn earlier this week where she was just giving shout outs to a bunch of people that are also going to be at CMX. I thought that was really nice. Looking forward to her session on building the future of your community with your product team, which Ilker, I think you mentioned a little bit earlier as one of your picks. That's definitely on my list as well. So theme wise, I really think CMX is nailing it with the thrive word this year. Like the things that are happening around like the emergence of community operations as its own career category, the emergence of Web3, and how it's continuing to roll along despite some downturns in the Web3 space. I think there's still a lot of energy there, and it's definitely put a big spotlight on community and community building in our world. And then I think just the renewed emphasis on metrics and return on investment, and like there's a lot of data-driven sessions that are out there this time around. So I'm really looking forward to those. Are there some other themes that I didn't hit, guys? Are those some of the big ones that you can think of?
I think you nailed it. And I think there were like kind of three general themes, they were breaking down Thrive that they wanted to work towards and have sessions around. So, gosh, I'm just excited to see people in person, to be around people. I had COVID in July. I'm like, give me all the crowds, everyone, just put me in the middle. All right. Antibodies are strong right now. Yeah. And, the keynotes too, to see Priya Parker in person, I am so thrilled. Her book has not only changed the way I approach community events and consulting on that, but how I, hold dinner parties here at my home. And yeah, so it's going to be such a great time. I also want to say, not on the agenda. It seems like every day wraps up around 5:50 p.m. And if you're looking for something to do in the evenings, Pablo Gonzalez and I are actually trying to get some things together. So follow us on social media. We will have some suggestions coming out soon about things like live piano karaoke, maybe hitting up a beer garden, and yeah, some good social times in the evening. I know Adrian Spire is interested in going to a Giants game on Tuesday night. So if anyone else would like to do that as well and go into the city, I can introduce you to Adrian if you don't already know him. If you do, reach out. And yeah, we're going to have all kinds of great groups of people really exploring and having a good time outside of the set conference as well.
Yeah, I wish I could be there. Yeah, my family situation is not going to let me do it this year. I'm hoping in future years that situation is going to change a little bit. But I'm so excited that everybody's going to be able to get back together and do some in-person stuff.
I'll do some Twitter lives. Okay, I'll do some Twitter lives, maybe
yes.
Instagram, but probably Twitter.
That's great. That's great. Oh, check this out. So Deb Shell said that she mentioned to Pablo about getting a karaoke machine.
It's one of the things we've been talking about. So who knows? You're gonna have to wait and hear our announcements about what we got planned. And everyone will be welcome.
Okay, if anybody does karaoke, somebody's got to film it or live stream it. That'd be just too fun.
Exactly. It's the rule. No, it's also I'm so also disappointed that I just wasn't able to come. But it's a big journey for me. If you put a thread like from where the conference is, and just pull it out from the other end of the earth, this is where I am. So therefore, it's a bit of a big journey for me. But certainly, the future looks bright for more and more gatherings in the industry. And I think this is a great restart, so to speak. And it's also a great opportunity, a great platform for us to be able to be involved, even if we're from halfway around the world, really. So therefore, make the most of it and let us know how it's going. Videos, pictures. We just want them all.
Yeah. And guys, I am super curious. Can you give us any teasers about what you will be sharing during your sessions? Now, don't give away all the goods yet, but yeah, what are some teasers? What are we going to hear from Todd and Ilker?
Yeah, why don't you go first, my friend? Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about.
All right. Okay. So that we can just make a a bigger announcement, because what you're talking about is something that we both have been working on. But it's great that we've actually connected it to this part of our conversation, because these two brilliant, wonderful, amazing people that you see on the screen were actually my mentors. As we were just talking, we were just having this sort of circle of mentoring between each other. But they were a great inspiration, and of course great sources of learning about the thing that I'm going to be talking about, which is the community consultancy. So in the beginning, Todd said and Jenny said that we're all community consultants, and what is it? And a lot of people actually came up to me, and I'm sure they came up to Todd and Jenny as well. I want to become a community consultant, move into community consultancy, maybe sort of just test it out. How can I do this? What does it involve, and stuff like that? And surprisingly, and there are a few killer consultants here in the chat as well. So certainly, where we have people like Deb, who's just fantastic, and she's been running this great cohort of community consultants for months and months and months, and which I've been a part of since day one. Deb, you're a star. We all know this, and thank you for all your efforts. Anyway, going back to that. People came up to me and asked this question, and surprisingly, I was, aside from what Deb has put together, there's surprisingly very little resource or guidance, or at least a sharing of experience on the web and in the events and so forth. So I just said, why not just put something together where I'm able to collate all my experiences, try and put some, guidance together for people who are thinking of starting community consultancy. What does it involve? And perhaps, is it right for you? And, if you're going to be doing it, what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing in accordance with my experience. So these are the things that I'm going to be talking about. Certainly, I would love to tell you a bit more about what consultancy is, why is it rising like this, and certainly, what is community consultancy? What does it involve? What do we actually do on a day-to-day basis? And certainly, if it is for you, and if you're actually thinking of embarking into this journey, how you can find your niche, how you can set up your services, how you can set up your brand presence and network, and of course, a few tips and tricks on your outreach strategy so that you can actually get some clients and build your business. I think these are very important, of course, as much as you can say in just a few minutes. It's a lifetime of experience that we're trying to share in such a small window, but I'm going to give it a good try, certainly. So these are the things that I'm going to be talking about. And I'm sure, because Todd and Jenny are nodding, because they can relate, and they can relate very, very well with tens of years of experience between, all of us. Certainly, it's something that, there are a few things that we can actually tell you so that you don't make the same mistakes and you gain the advantages that it took us some, good time and experience to gain.
Ilker, why would you be sharing all of our secrets about consultancy work?
Not really, but certainly I'm going to be telling them about the way a certain let's say strategy, as we're all strategy consultants, to move into the business. One very cool thing about being a community professional is that we just do things differently because we work with people and we have our own certain unfair advantages, which I will talk about as consultants or professionals per se. So certainly, there are things that I will never, ever be able to do as good as Todd or Jenny or Deb, but I can actually show you the way.
And there are things that you do that we'll never be able to do as well as you do. So, I mean, my question was, facetious, of course, because, I think all three of us have this mindset that there is so much need around the community space and community building, and in terms of mentorship, in terms of planning communities, running them, or reviving them. That I view it with an abundance mindset. I think you guys do too. Like we want and need more consultants in the community space, just to help others in need. And so it's not always about being a full-time role with one organization or another. It's often about somebody that's seen a lot of different organizations and a lot of different implementations of community and has a perspective of what works and what doesn't. And if that describes you, and you've got some specific experience or depth in certain places. I think Ilker's session is going to be a must see just for that reason. I think there's going to be a lot of value in that. So I'm looking forward to your session, my friend.
I also want to say we talked about the theme being thrive and these new career paths we're seeing now. I've never seen a session like this dedicated at any community conference so far in years, right? So it really does speak to how this field has grown. That now, we can have sessions like this because there is a need and a curiosity around becoming a consultant in this area and taking that as a career path. So, Ilker, I am so glad you're speaking on this. I'm excited for it.
Thank you very much, Jenny. That's certainly, the things that, we've all gone through, and certainly the things that we've discussed, they're all going to be, sort of popping up, and certainly some Star Wars references, but I am not saying any more.
Wait, are you going to tell would-be consultants to use the Force, learn to use the Force?
This is the way.
Look, wait until, just hang around until the end of our presence, and you'll be thankful about, the connection of the Force with community. And it is the most unlikeliest way. And it's something that I've discovered by accident.
Ilker's going to reveal to us that he has a secret twin sister.
Yeah, I've got a couple of proper collection grade lightsabers. Nerd level just growing right now as we're talking.
Don't make me go get mine. Don't make me go get them.
Well, I'm more than happy if if you're interested in having a virtual lightsaber fight, in one of our one of our next ones. But I'm sure you'll prevail with all your great experience.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that. Oh, it's gonna be great, Ilker. Can't wait.
I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. Thanks, man.
Todd, over to you.
Yeah. So this is actually the topic that I'm going to be doing in my virtual presentation on the 14th at like 3:30 p.m. I want to say 3:30 p.m. On the 14th is going to be on talent communities. And this was an emergent topic from weekly discussions that Ilker and I have been having for some months now. Actually, we've been getting together on a semi-weekly basis just to kind of catch up, talk about the community space. We're colleagues, and just like Jenny and I talk pretty frequently too. And what came out of that conversation was we've seen like a lot of really good materials around community building 101, kinds of like, I want to start a community, I want to get a community going. But some of the more niched or nuanced content around building certain kinds of communities, we saw as an interesting growth area and as something to look at. And one that we ended up both gravitating towards is the idea of building communities of talent. You've got communities of practice. We've got different kinds of support communities, different kinds of communities out there. There hasn't been a lot of talk or discussion about talent communities. Like, if you Google the idea, like there's sort of a very high dancing along the surface discussion of what these things are. What Ilker and I have been able to do has been able to contextualize and put into a framework how online communities can be overlaid on top of a talent acquisition strategy for an organization. I like to call it a talent engagement strategy because it's more than just the acquisition part of finding people, but it's about getting them engaged and keeping them engaged through their journey, from the time when you identify them as a candidate from wherever that source happens to be, all the way through to when they're an employee, to even when they've left the organization, how you keep them engaged in online communities. And so we'll be breaking that down in a kind of a framework. I say we because Ilker and I, this is our brainchild, but I'll be talking about it at the session because we couldn't do double sessions for whatever reason with CMX. But we'll be breaking that down as a couple of different categories of talent communities, how these things work together, and some questions to bring back to your organization so that you can engage with your chief people officer or your chief human resources officer or your recruiting team to figure out ways to get them more involved with, more directly engaged with the online community efforts that you may have going. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is a categorically new space. And as I teased a little bit earlier in today's stream, This is a prelude to a more formal offering that Ilker and I are going to be rolling out. So I'll announce that at the end of the talk. But we're both very much behind this and believe that this is an area for growth in community building that's out there right now. So so that's my little teaser.
That is so cool. So
That also is
yeah,
something I haven't heard. A talent community. Like, how many other things on the agenda are referencing that, right? So you're both going to be hitting topics that there's such a need for more information, for more people to know about these. And yeah, so kudos to both of you. I can see why you were selected as speakers.
Oh,
Jenny, you're so kind, and definitely, Todd. Todd is always referencing that we worked it together, but we worked on this together. I mean, it's true, of course. I mean, these were sort of the end result of discussions, which I sort of think that it's very similar to the A Team of the 1980s. That TV series where they locked the those members of the A Team up in a warehouse, and surprisingly, there was all this material to build a tank or whatever. Everything was there, all the tools and stuff like that. So this is exactly what happened, because I was quite passionate about talent communities, and I just thought that this could be the way forward in terms of community building, and of course also the future of recruitment in per se. But I'm not a recruitment professional, even though I did have a startup on this very particular matter. But it turns out, as we were talking with Todd, that Todd had years and years and years of recruitment industry experience. So we just said, we've got to put this together, certainly. And to our surprise, just like a little bit of consultants, so Jenny is absolutely spot on this one. Very few people have actually thought about talent communities, even though it has now started to become part of our lives. So now you see on LinkedIn and on a few other places, you see all these sort of job adverts or call outs for disguised as job adverts, like join our talent community. But I'm not sure if the companies know how to harness this, or how to treat their candidates, employees. And this is the secret. We thought, I'm not giving too much away, the people who are actually leaving the company for whatever reason, as a community. So these are the things that we actually, sat down and, thought really, really hard about. And these are the things that we are going to talk about. And certainly the perspective and the tools and everything that we have learned in the trade are going to be extremely handy, in providing the organizations with the power to, to elevate their competitive advantage if they treated these people as a proper community.
Amen. Yeah, and I think what's prompting a lot of this, which I didn't share, it's in the blurb on the agenda, but basically, COVID brought a lot of these issues to the fore around talent management and acquisition and retention in particular. And we hear about these terms like the Great Resignation and quiet quitting, and all of the difficulties that organizations are having getting and keeping engaged people in their jobs. I think there was the latest Gallup research about engaged people on the job was sitting somewhere at an abysmally low 20%. And so, as all of us know, who community professionals, it's the best kept secret that shouldn't be a best kept secret. Communities are the secret ingredient to getting people more engaged and more active, and to be bigger fans, and to keep that narrative in front of them about what your organization is trying to do. So I see this as marrying my prior career as a tech recruiter to my current one, and my life's mission of trying to bring communities to organizations everywhere. So I'm very excited to be having this conversation at CMX, where hopefully I get good feedback and ideas from colleagues and friends and professionals out there that get a chance to catch it.
Love it. Oh, I so wish you guys could be there with me. But you know what? I will carry the torch for you. And like I said, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and you will see lots of great stuff I'm going to be sharing there.
So Jenny, now we want to see a presentation from you next year. I know you're kind of taking the year off. You want to just enjoy the live event, but
I do, yeah.
you've got so much to say and contribute. We really want to see you there. the next time
Thanks.
around too.
Well, I'll start
Yeah.
thinking about a very unique topic, like the two that you have presented. You've set the bar high, gentlemen.
No, honestly, Jenny, one of the the fun things to say on this, and really, of course, we didn't plan the conversation to come to this very right point. One of the presentations that you did, it was on one of the lightning sessions on on how not to. You remember how not to set an introduction to your community. I'm trying to remember what the
It was
title
the show
was,
and
but
tell. Show and
yeah,
tell that,
it was
like,
a show and
yeah,
tell.
it was kind of like, don't do these things. And I tried to hide which communities I was showing, but I think one of the names got through, and I don't think they're very happy with me. But we can learn from our failures too, and our mistakes.
It was basically no, but I mean the cool thing about it was it was a great structure in the sense that of course we just say and of course I think David says in his book and in his methodology as well about the community members, for example, defining which community members do not belong to your community is also a good way of defining your community or defining who should be part of the community. So of course you had such a fun presentation. Of course, people, have their, have the, the right to think about, to think what they want to think. But certainly, we absolutely enjoyed it because this is what happens on the ground in the sense that there are so many, wrong introductions to a community, and it is your first impression, and you certainly don't get a second chance to make one. So it makes all the sense in the world. So I believe that you have all the skills on the planet to come up with something even more niche, even more important that no one has actually touched upon compared to me and Todd.
Maybe I already do, and I'm just sitting on it. Oh, no,
I'm
thank
sure-
you.
I'm sure we'll find out.
Appreciate that. In the meantime, I'm just going to be at this one though to soak up all the great information, to be in camaraderie in person with people for the first time in how many years now? Since I've gathered with people in community for something like this. So it'll be a really special event. I'm really appreciative of everyone who joined us this morning. There was a lot of great chatter happening in the chat. Lots of great tips being shared, some sessions to look out for, some comments being made, and also appreciate all the compliments from y'all. I'm glad you liked the Todd, Ilker, Jenny show here. Because we love it. We love it. We do.
We're going to maybe have to do this again soon. Well, you know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe we need to do a recap show afterwards.
Post show.
Exactly, especially with Jenny, having been to the events, in person. Certainly, there will be things that we will never ever be able to see, Todd, from afar.
That's true. So if you guys like the sound of that, or if you're catching this in the replay, please drop us in a comment, and we'll go ahead and get something scheduled for after the event is done.
And guys, a lot of the platform partners are starting to hold some events coming up in the fall. So when Higher Logic has Super Forum, when Koros has their customer thing, maybe this can just be a regular, and we can just give our thoughts about these upcoming conferences. I don't know. We'll see. To be determined. Stay tuned, folks.
I'm totally down with that. That sounds like an amazing time. Guys, I'm looking at the clock and I can't believe that we're rolling up on about 45 minutes here. I've got a little sad feeling in my heart that it's time to wrap things up. But this has been such a joyful time with both of you. I treasure both of you. I think you're amazing people, and I'm very lucky to know you. And I'm really grateful that we could get together and talk a little bit about this topic that we love and this upcoming event that is so important for our industry. And hopefully we get a chance to get back together and do this again soon for the recap.
Let's do it. Let's make a plan for it.
Yeah.
Great.
Agreed.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to wrap us up here, taking us out. Thank you again for joining us. Those of you who've been here on the live stream, you are amazing. Super grateful for you. If you have not already, please subscribe to the Clocktower Advisors page so you can get updates for any of the upcoming events that we have. We try to do these every 2 weeks, and I would be remiss if I didn't do a shout out to my engineer for the show, Kalisa Mikkel, who is an incredible virtual assistant and engineer who has been able to do a terrific job of wrangling everybody and keeping us on process and honest. Every 2 weeks, we're planning to run these shows. In fact, we've got things scheduled up through October now, but I think we may end up having to schedule a special show in September after this is done. I'll get back with you about that, Kalisa. We'll work that out. Again, just a quick reminder, Amadou Diallo, the amazing guy. If you catch his videos or his blog articles, he is so much fun, such a great guy. I met him through International Community Day, which is coming up on October 12th, I want to say, which is going to be another really cool event. I'm celebrating communities internationally. Amadou is going to be on the next show on Friday, September the 9th, same time, 10 a.m. U.S. Central Time. And I hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, Kalisa, please cue the video for the outro, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Jenny, Ilker, thanks again. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much.